How is everyone doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the match review of our 3-0 win over Malmo. This game was pretty interesting, I can't lie. A lot of interesting talking points in regards to, our upcoming game against Man City, the future of Sarri, and I think the untapped potential of this football that Sarri brought to the club, and how I feel that over time, with some better players, more suitable players, this system could really be a beautiful thing. But anyway, you guys, today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. Download the OneFootball app. Not only does it help me out a lot, but it's also the best football app to have because the convenience is crazy. If you want the latest news, stats, match facts, in-game facts, literally any type of facts you want, you can get that through the OneFootball app. For me, the convenience comes from let's say for example, I want to look at a certain player. I'll type his name in on OneFootball, and when I do that, I can then get all the latest news on him. And quite a lot of times, that's where you find a lot of interesting stories. And I honestly think that this is why the OneFootball app is so convenient. Anyway, getting straight into the lineup. And one thing that we all wanted to see was Hudson Odoi starting in this game. Sarri did start him. And after his performance today, I'm sorry, if he's not going to be in serious consideration to start against Man City, honestly, Sarri, you've got it coming for yourself then. You've seriously got it coming for yourself, and you're creating your own problems. Now, Hudson Odoi tonight showed us why exactly he needs to start every single game for us now. He's the best option down that right-hand side. There's no debating it anymore. There's not. His skill on the ball is ridiculous. He can attack people. He can go on the outside. He can cut inside as well. He can play people in. His dribbling is incredible, left foot, right foot. This is why he keeps it so silkily, and this is why he's such a difficult player to come up against. And that goal he scored as well. He's showing that off-the-ball movement. That was a quality strike by Hudson Odoi. He's scoring. Now, Sarri, this is a sign. This game was divine intervention from Gods, showing you that you have to use certain players if you want Sarri ball to work. This is why we saw Emerson come good in the second half. This is why Hudson Odoi was a constant threat throughout. This is why Christensen showed why he's so useful when it comes to defending counterattacks. And defensively, he was very, very solid. No more Marcus Alonso. No more Pedro. Honestly, with this lineup today, all Sarri needs to add is Higuain, Hazard, which is obvious, Kepa, which is obvious as well, Jorginho, Luiz. The only wild card really is introducing Ruben. But even if he didn't, that is the lineup we need to use. Hudson Odoi adds so much to the team. He's so pivotal for us right now. There's no excuse for Sarri to isolate him anymore and to overlook him constantly. There's no excuse. His performance today showed Sarri, listen, here are the blueprints for you to succeed. If he doesn't see this sign tonight, then honestly, as I was saying, Sarri's got it coming for himself. It's as simple as that. Moving on to Malmo. And I have to say that Malmo were very decent. They were a decent team tonight, I can't lie. Now, as I constantly keep saying all the time, their comparison is like Bournemouth. I mean, they use that 3-5-2, pretty similar to how Bournemouth play and the tactics they use. And this is why, for me, the win today was a good test to show you that there is potential in this system and in Sarri's work. Now, they were very aggressive in the first 25 minutes. And to be honest, that was their best spell, that first 25 minutes in the game. Aggressive, they were getting to us, forcing us to misplace passes in our own half, isolating us out wide in certain areas to force us to have to play long balls from deep. And then they'd overrun us in midfield because, of course, they were using a flat midfield three. They were a very good test and they were causing us some issues. Now, in that period in particular, Cover was struggling. He was a bit sloppy, his passing wasn't on point. I don't think that he was concentrating as much. And to be honest, when Cover started to play again after that 25-minute spell, that was when we started to play better, and that was when we started to dominate against Malmo. And this is the key thing in Sarri ball. It's all about beating the opposition, their first phase of pressing, playing through that. And then when you do that, when you play through that, you create all these opportunities forward where, fast players can exploit that by making runs and, all these vertical passing channels become open. This is how Sarri ball works and we've got the potential. You know why? Because we constantly play out very well, in my opinion. We beat pressure very well. It's just translating that into creating opportunities in the final third. But if Sarri uses Emerson's, if he uses Hudson Odoi's and Ruben's, that's going to translate well and this football's gonna work. Now, even looking at Emerson, at times it wasn't perfect, especially off the ball defensively. He was quite sloppy, but as I've always said, in my opinion, I think when it comes to Emerson, he needs that run of games, he needs that confidence. It's very hard to just coming out of nowhere and putting in an amazing performance. It doesn't really work like that, but in the second half, he really stepped things up. I think maybe it was the right back from Malmo. I think they had like a little incident that really angered Emerson, and from then on it seemed like that seemed to spark him into life, and it came at a very good time. He was dynamic. How many times was he carrying the ball forward, beating his man, stretching the play, making runs in behind as well? These are the essentials we need there. As you could see in this game, obviously Hazard wasn't there. But even then, regardless of that point, we saw how much faster the play was down the flanks. Do you notice that? When we use certain players in this team playing this style of football, we notice that our combinations down the flanks are much more effective, much more quicker, and we get in behind as well. Sarri, come on, this game today showed you why certain personnel gotta be starting all the time. Please, if you don't see the signs today, but regardless, I need to talk about some key personnel performances. I need to talk about N'Golo Kante. Now, if there was ever a game this season to tell the naysayers that say that Kante should be playing deeper and Jorginho shouldn't be there, you got to show them this game. You have to. This game proves why Sarri's right. And it's like, how do people see Kante as being this limited player? I mean, he had so much to a team. He can add way more, and this game showed it. When he got that first goal, for example, that came from his intensity of winning the ball. That's what Kante's the best at in the world, in my opinion. Winning the ball back quickly and helping to start an attack. He did that. He carried the ball forwards, and that was what created the opportunity for the first goal. The amount of times he won possession in Malmo's half and helps us retain the ball there as well. He plays a very key role. He's a player that can add a lot to the team because he's so dynamic, he's so intelligent, he can pass the ball as well, he can start attacks, he can carry the ball. He's what you need in this style of football, and Sarri's right. As I've been saying, since the start of the winter period, we've been seeing a better Kante. A Kante that's much more effective now in the final thirds, and I think that over time, he's only going to get better. And I'm really excited to see, I was excited to see. That does depend if Sarri is going to be here next season. But I was hoping to see Kante's development under Sarri for his second season, because I think that he'd be even better now. I'm looking at how Alan's playing in Serie A this season. Amazing. And I think that, Alan's journey came from Sarri and how he was using him. I think that the same thing could happen with Kante, but unfortunately there's a possibility that we might not see that happen. Obviously Cover as well, he was very poor in the first opening 25 minutes, but over time as he got on the ball, you can see his qualities, and the guy's just infinitely better playing deeper instead of being in the final third. I mean, how many times was he relieving the pressure, beating the press, and starting the attacks? That's how it works, Look how Malmo were pressing. I think during halftime they showed a moment on the screen where they showed you how they were pressing. They had like 6 players in our own half, man marking each of our players. And we were really struggling to play through that. Instead, what we should have been doing was keeping the ball, beating the press, and switching the ball to the opposite flank. We weren't doing that, but when Cover was getting on the ball, that was when we started to see that style of football coming out. Ross Barkley was poor in my opinion. Now, it was a fantastic free kick, amazing. Barkley has these moments, these sparks where you're thinking, okay, you've done something good. Are you going to step up now? Is this going to be the moment you needed where you are going to find a new level? It's still not come yet. It's frustrating. A lot of times he lost possession of the ball needlessly. Defending was poor off the ball, not winning his 50-50s. He really doesn't add anything for us. And if only Ruben was fully fit, because I guarantee Sarri would have been using him in the first team now. He's exactly what we need. Let's hope that Ruben gets back to speed quickly, because we really need him for this team. Still though, with this game, it really showed us that when this team doesn't face any adversity, the football works. Everything's good. When Malmo started to move back in their own half and they weren't pressing us very high anymore, when the players had a bit more space, you could see the quality start to show. It was easy, but as I keep stressing, this team, this squad isn't tailor-made to really find the solutions for all their issues. It's really not a technical enough team, and what I keep saying is the fact that because teams keep using these big block tactics, they're very compact in the middle, they're not looking to move, they're keeping their shape there, and they're forcing us to play the ball out wide, and with the personnel that Sarri uses, they can't play that style of football. It breaks down every single time, and that's why we always see teams counter-attacking down our flanks. But with the introduction of certain personnel, with Hudson Odoi that can go 1v1 and take someone outside. You know, a lot of times we need someone to just carry the ball out wide and outrun someone. That's a really useful skill to have in the Premier League. That's what Hudson Odoi can bring. Pedro and Willian can't do that. Emerson as well. I mean, that moment where Emerson got that Malmo player sent off, that's another example of what I'm talking about. If that was Marcus Alonso, you know that he's moving infield, not to link up with anyone, but he's going to move infield to get inside the box in hopes that he can take a shot on goal. That's not helping no one. This is what I mean by execution and needing the right personnel, because Emerson has those attributes you need for this style of football. Very good 1v1. He created the moment where the Malmo player got sent off, and that ended up making a big difference near the end, because that was how Hudson Odoi was able to score. All these things add up. It makes a lot of sense, and you have to remember, with this system, it's all about teaching these guys how to play. You know, Sarri's not a Mourinho or a Conte, where the system helps overcome player deficiencies. It's the opposite. You know, in a Sarri system, you need more technically proficient players. I think that with time, it could work. You know, that's the thing with time. But for Sarri to actually have the time to implement what he needs to do, he needs to start from now. And that means using Hudson Odoi. That means using Ruben. That means using Emerson. These three players will make a massive difference for you guys. That's going to bring an end for today's match review. Please like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you watch my earlier video today. It's a massive one. I'm releasing breaking news. And if you want to support me on Patreon, where you get access to exclusive Patreon-only videos, make sure you go in the link in the description and have a look. I'm NiniFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.